Hello and welcome to those that have never tuned in before. I'm Meredith McCarthy. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist based in Wellington, New Zealand. And I thought today I would talk about intuition and how I work with clients and how we can utilize that intuitive knowingness within a session and also in everyday life. So I hope you'll enjoy this one. Buckle up, and here we go. Righty, this is actually quite an exciting episode because I don't tend to talk about intuition very much in the podcast so far, but it is actually a really strong part of how I run my therapy sessions. And that's another big part of what hypnotherapy can really enhance is that connection with parts of that client that just knows stuff beyond the consciousness, right? So that subconscious inner knowingness. There's also the guidance that often is maybe beyond us. So we might get little nudges in our life to do this now or ring so and so. It's not a question, it's more like a statement. And that is what I want to talk to you about. And maybe this might help you to tune into your own inner knowingness and guidance system rather than having the questions sort of flowing through and not really discerning what's a question versus a statement. I got to tune into this many years ago. So I've always been quite tuned in to my own inner chatter. And I think that's been quite helpful because there have been some times where I've been guided beyond my conscious awareness of how I kind of know something. Often there is this inner knowingness about something or a situation or someone that's sitting in front of me that often guides me in my sessions. I wouldn't say that I'm going to claim to be psychic, okay? I'm not seeing spirit. I'm not doing that kind of thing. However, I do believe that we are very wise and our souls know things that sometimes consciously we've forgotten. And I think that we are guided. So that's my own spiritual belief, but I sense that in my sessions as well when I'm working with people. And I absolutely feel guided from time to time to say certain things that is beyond my awareness about the person's life, which usually it's surprisingly accurate. But it doesn't happen with every session, every person, but from time to time, there are very, very strong nudges that I can't ignore that I end up talking to within that session. It guides me often to how I'm going to work with that person as well. When I drop into hypnosis, I want to talk about parts. So I'm inviting a person to tune into a part of themselves that knows stuff. And quite often when you get them to say things out loud, their inner wisdom is quite different to their normal chatter. So there is this wisdom of the heart or wisdom of the gut or wisdom of the mind. And when we start to work with different parts, that can be quite interesting to observe, to listen to, how different that wisdom is to the normal perspective, if you like. And I do think the inner compass, there's a part of us that knows who we are, why we're here on earth, our soul journey, and what we need. And if we tune in, if we quieten enough, if we hold space properly, then that inner knowingness can pop up in a session and really guide that person mindfully to wherever they need to go. This is where coming back to the belief that the client knows the answer, okay? I'm not the one with the answer. I'm there to hold space. I'm there to create an environment that helps them to drop in and hear that inner knowingness, to tune in. And maybe it's their guides speaking, maybe it's, again, their inner soul and that part of them that knows what's been going on and knows how to resolve it can have a chance to guide that person to wherever they need to go, to let go of the things that maybe have been getting in the way, to do that healing work on that deepest level. I'm a great believer that we do actually choose our life and the lessons that we want to experience in this lifetime. And I think there are probably going to be listeners out there going, what are you talking about? But those that know. So I'm not going to go too far into that. But there are some inner guidance elements of my own beliefs that guide me in the way that I work with clients and that help me to see a bigger perspective when I'm working with people. I'm a great believer that there are no mistakes. Everything happens for a reason. And often we can't always see that reason straight away. It has a broader ripple effect through time and space, often intergenerationally too. So what you're doing now, what you're thinking, how you're being, has a bigger, broader effect than what we could ever see in our human position right here on Earth. But I do believe that, when we pass, we have a life review and we begin to understand all of those connections and the lessons. We begin to see how our impact was from other people's points of view that in this current life on Earth we cannot see. Okay, so when we are going into that life review after we die, that is a big part of the process of life and death. But it's not really a death fully. So for me, I don't believe that we actually just cease to exist. But I also don't believe that we only have one chance on Earth to do whatever we're doing. I think we do come back, and this is where past life regression comes into things. So a lot of my clients would come in and look at past life regression. Some people will be able to connect to those past lives if it services them to know. But a lot of times they won't, because it's not going to service them to know what their past lives were in this particular current time. But we can still do a lot of release work and understanding and building for this lifetime that they're currently in. If you've got any questions about that, if you want me to talk to that a little bit more, I'm happy to. So, feel free to pass a comment my way. When we're looking at intuition, often there is a big difference between the inner chatter, so going back to that, the question, should I? What if? What if I did that? Maybe did it? And you're processing questions, okay? That is not your inner knowingness, okay? That is not it. What happens is if we can tune in and pay attention to the way that we're thinking about something, the way that we're getting a message, the message that is always accurate is the non-negotiable statement. It's not a question. It comes in as a statement, like non-negotiable, no fluffy talk. It's just direct. That's the easiest way of explaining that intuitive voice, that intuitive inner knowingness. It says things like, yep, you've got this. You're on track. It's not a question, am I on track? Have I got this? That inner knowingness is, you're on track. You've got this. Go there now. It's time. These are the very, and it doesn't always have to be big, long sentences either, or paragraphs or stories. It's a very quick, directional placement of, it's time, this is right. It's a confirmation, if you want to look at it like that. Anyway, when we're in, I guess, a therapeutic space, and as a hypnotherapy teacher, often there will be students that are tuning in intuitively and want to work in that way, and there's nothing wrong with working in that way. quite often when I'm starting a hypnotherapy session with someone, I have no idea where we're about to go until I see things in my mind. So often I'll see pictures, or I'll kind of, the voice just comes as I'm guiding them through this process. And I do believe a therapist also drops into alpha and theta waves with that client. So we're going into hypnosis as well when we're working often with our clients. When we're tuning in to another frequency of understanding. And many times I'll finish a session and I haven't actually remembered much of what I said to the client, strangely. I know that sounds very strange if you have not had that experience before, but that's truly the it's very much in the moment. It forms and then it goes. Like one of those dreams that you go, oh, I know I had this amazing dream, but I can't quite remember it. It's kind of like that sometimes when I'm guiding people through things. Sometimes I remember things, but often when I'm really tuning in and really we're doing some incredible work and the wisdom is flowing, it's very impermanent in a way. It's like a moment, and the moment doesn't need to be serviced anymore because it's already done. So it can be quite powerful in that sense. I hope you've enjoyed today's talk time. If you want to know more about the stuff, please get in touch. I do offer a training course, a diploma in clinical hypnotherapy. You can check out the course on nzach.ac.nz. I also offer one-to-one personal sessions with people. You can visit the meredithmccarthy.com site and book in a session with me. I do work with people around the world, so just bear in mind the time differences. Anyway, I hope you did enjoy today's, and I know I don't normally talk about that kind of side of things, but I think that is a big part of how I work with people and how I am as a person. And I thought that might be useful for you guys out there to think about. Anyway, ka kite, enjoy.